state leading totals to 396, Gallup County 242. Almost 400 active cases in Billings and Yellowstone County. Still going to have Big Sky State games this weekend. So there you go. Last week, New Mexico postponed fall sports for high schools. Pennsylvania just came out today and said they're moving forward with fall sports as scheduled. So some states are going to, some states are not. It'll be interesting to see what happens in Montana because, as we know, MHSA is going to give everybody as much hope as possible because that's what they do. Nobody cares if you have 3 or less active cases. It applies to certain indoor business settings. I think his quote was, no shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service, something like that. Indoor business settings that are open to the public, outdoor gatherings of 50 or more when distancing is not possible. That keyword, social distance, that we love so much, key phrase, social distance. Let's see, what else? Businesses have to post a sign that masks are required for those ages 5 and up. If you are 5 and under, you don't matter. I get it. Kids, my daughter's too. She doesn't want to wear a mask. CDC actually says it's unhealthy. They don't recommend wearing masks for kids 2 and under. That will not be required, though, when consuming food or drinks in establishments. Well, that's good. Because I'd hate to see people trying to eat and drink with a mask on. That would be kind of tough, I would think. People say, well, cut a hole in it, but then you defeat the purpose of wearing a mask. But if you're going to wear a mask, I think you should also have to wear eye protection. Because if someone coughs or sneezes, apparently within 6 feet or less, it's going to get into your eyes. It can get into your eyes. And then you get sick. See? So you have to wear a full face mask. And mask. And that's how the football is going to happen this fall, I think. We're going to have all the football helmets are going to have eye masks, visor protection, which a lot do now, because people just don't want to. Football players, a little secret here, you get poked in the eye a lot if you're in the bottom of a pile. That happens. So that's why the visors. And that's the original reason for the visors. But also, you wear a mask under your face mask while you play football. And I just want you to think about that because that's how football is going to happen. They say mask up. Football is a contact sport. There is coughing, sneezing, aching, stuffy head, all that fun stuff in football. And basketball is a contact sport as well. So when we get to October, when basketball practices are supposed to start, think about that. There's a lot of bodily fluids being exchanged, both on the football field and on the basketball floor. Volleyball, somebody licks their hand, serves it, you touch it on the return. Just saying. Stuff to think about. But now you have to wear a mask in Montana if you have 4 or more cases in your counties. So that will include Gallatin, Yellowstone, Flathead, Garfield, Bighorn, Cascade, Missoula, Lewis and Clark, which has 42 active cases, Ravalli, Richland, Beaverhead, Carbon, Lake, Madison, Rosebud, Broadwater, Custer, Dawson, Deer Lodge, Glacier, Granite. Golden Valley County just missed. You have 3 cases, but none new. Hill County, Jefferson County, Lincoln, Marr, Park, Roosevelt, Silver Bow, Stillwater, Teton, Toole, Valley. Those are all of the ones that are going to have to mask up wherever you go out in public. They say you don't have to wear it in your house. Well, that's good. I mean, there's probably some married couples or couples living together that would love to have their husbands or wives or significant others masked up so they don't have to see them talk. Given the mask mandate, Nicole says, this is exactly right. Facebook message from Nicole. You need to wear it outside as social distance can't be maintained. How does the Big Sky State Games manage that? Because not a whole lot of social distancing in certain events at the Big Sky State Games. But got to have it. Got to have the state games. They have to happen. This is just nuts, man. And I don't know what to think. Like I say every day, we give a COVID update every day, and we're going to talk about it every day because that is all that really matters right now. There are no sports right now. Okay? And it just sucks. So, in Montana, start wearing a mask out in public, everywhere you go. Unless you have a health issue. What if you're claustrophobic? Legit question. But how do you prove that? So. All right. What else were we going to chat about here in the open? Oh, the mask and the COVID. Did you see the thing about Burger King? We're going to talk about this coming up a little bit later on in the show. Burger King and gas. And I'm not talking about petroleum. Sometimes there are just things that you just have to talk about. And we're going to talk about Burger King a little bit later on today. It is a big happy birthday today. Jeff Choate, Bobcat football coach, is 50 today. The big 5-0. So happy birthday. Saw this. The Portland State football wants compensation for the canceled non-conference football games with Arizona and Oregon State because Pac-12 said they're only going to play conference games. Well, that affects MSU, which is supposed to get $675,000 from Utah. Portland State, a combined payout from Arizona and Oregon State, $950,000. And Portland State needs that money. Absolutely needs that money. I mean, this is a university, especially a football program, that doesn't draw well. Okay, they've struggled, and Portland State needs that $950,000. Man, and we know Montana State's losing $675,000, so that'll be interesting to moving forward over the next couple of months is to see if those canceled games between FBS, the money games, FBS to FCS or FCS to Division II, if those games get compensated, those teams, because, man, came out today, Akron, University of Akron, who's already dropped a bunch of sports, came out today and said they're basically eliminating nearly 200 positions. Akron may not survive. Forget sports. Akron University or University of Akron may not just survive. And that's the case with a lot of these smaller schools if there's not football. Football's the breadwinner for 99.9% of schools for sports and athletics. Of course, you can charge $49,000 for tuition and room and board, and probably get by if you don't have sports. But yeah, keep an eye on that. Portland State wanting compensation still for its games with Arizona and Oregon State that were canceled. Let's see what else. Oh, did you see the fire in Gardner yesterday? Like 5 or 6 businesses absolutely just gutted. And that's a bummer. And historic, like 2-Bit Saloon in Gardner. Man, our thoughts go with out to that community. Remember, was it late 80s? Gardner High had a fire, burned the gym, burned the school uniforms, team, all that stuff. And I remember Gardner finished the season on the road, but they also finished the season wearing old Montana State men's basketball jerseys. I want to say 87 or 88 that happened. But I remember it. It was a bummer. But they had the blue and gold already, so the Cats donated uniforms. So, all right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, should you or should you not be concerned about COVID? Should you or should you not wear a mask? Will we have sports this fall? And will we send our kids back to school? Dr. David Samadi will join the show and talk about it next when we return here on The Jason Walker Show. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show. Do you love to look at photos of Montana, from animals to landscapes and more? Are you looking for a place to get your senior pictures or family portraits done? Are you a business owner looking to upgrade the decor in your offices? Well, look no further than Mark LaRoe Photography. Mark has been shooting beautiful photos all across the Treasure State, from rodeos to portraits, and would love to work with you. Visit marklaroephotography.com to see many masterpieces of his work, then give him a call to schedule your own photo shoot. Or to purchase one of his fantastic pieces, stop by Spirit of the Big Sky Gallery on Custer in Helena. marklaroephotography.com.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Oh, it is a Wednesday on the Jason Walker Show, July the 15th. Tomorrow's my dad's birthday. So, Jeff Choate's birthday today, my dad's birthday tomorrow. How about that? Pretty good company there. Inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave, we're going to talk a little bit about Northern Rodeo coming up. Also, Burger King and gas. Oh, but not a petrol. Yeah. All right. Also on this day in history coming up, the walk-off brought to you by Cafe Zydeco is on the way as well, and a whole lot more. Tomorrow, by the way, we're going to talk to Montana State women's basketball coach Tricia Binford. Signed a new contract, went into effect July 1st, and she is the highest paid basketball coach at Montana State, and deservedly so. So we'll talk about that tomorrow with Coach Binford. This segment brought to you by Ruckers Furniture. Make the quality choice for your home at Ruckers Furniture, 1010 Dearborn in Helena. All right, so there's a lot of misinformation. Okay, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of everything surrounding coronavirus, COVID-19, all of that. And I've said it before. I'm not a doctor. You're not a doctor. The majority of my audience, I don't think I have any doctors that listen to this program. And if you do, please come aboard and talk. But I told you back in, was it April or May? April, I think. I went to the doctor, and my nurse said, she's wearing a mask, and she goes, I'm only wearing one because I have to at work. She goes, I don't wear one. Well, everybody has to wear one now in counties 4 active cases or more in Montana, thanks to Governor Bullock's mandate, which is not entirely legal, by the way. I just wanted to throw that out there. And a governor has no authority. Okay, listen to this. A governor has no authority to order its citizens, the citizens, to do anything. The power is limited to directing agencies for which they're responsible. Now, public health agencies can issue a mandated order, but they can only do so in a time of an emergency. So this comes from Peggy Hall, LouRockwell.com. An emergency is defined as a health threat with a casualty rate significantly greater than normally present. Since the COVID-19 casualty rate now is officially recognized as not significantly greater than seasonal flu, there is no emergency. Therefore, states like California, Montana, have no authority to order anyone to wear masks, remain 6 feet apart, shelter in place, wash hands, anything else. Washing your hands is common sense. So keep that in mind. They cannot fine you for not wearing a mask. Now, if they want to call Congress back, special session, make a law, then that is something different. But, all right. Wanted to get a doctor's thoughts on COVID-19. Another doctor. We talked to one back in March, I think, March or April. But there's been a lot of since in the last 4 months. And Dr. David Samadi, you can follow him on Twitter, at Dr. David Samadi, Dr. David Samadi. But he's well respected, especially on the East Coast. But he's very active on Twitter. And wanted to get his thoughts. And he joins us now here on the Jason Walker Show, courtesy of the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. Doctor, I appreciate you joining us from New York. A little late out there, but are you staying safe?
Not so bad. We're doing great, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you.
I appreciate you joining us. Like I said, you are very outspoken on your Twitter about COVID and a little bit of overreaction. And I've been saying, Doctor, since March that it's okay to overreact, but at the same time be concerned. Tell me more about COVID-19 from a doctor's perspective here.
Well, I think it depends on what part of this journey you're talking about. 6 months ago, we had no idea what is facing us. We had a virus that we didn't know much about it. We didn't know who it was going to infect. Since then, we know that our nursing home has taken about 47% of death comes from there. So the ground zero is mainly elderly with a sickness, diabetes, high blood pressure. Since then, we have come in the last 6 months with many different treatment options. We understand this disease much better. Our death rate has been declining for the past many weeks. Even though the numbers in some states are high and there are some spikes here and there, there's a multiple reasons for why those numbers are up. Whether it's testing, whether it's the riots, whether it's the rallies, whether it's people going out and socializing after being home for 3 months, all of that has reason to these numbers. But the bottom line is we know how to take care of the patients, and the death rate is down. So I think the news is pretty optimistic 6 months after, and we're going to win over this virus. It's just a matter of time.
Dr. David Samadi joining us on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. When you look at the numbers, and yes, you mentioned, we've had this huge spike in Florida and a lot of the southern states, but a lot of that is because people up north are heading to the south, or out in west, people traveling to states like Montana. But you mentioned the death rate, and to me, that's the number that should be focused on the most, because the death rate keeps dropping, and one life lost is too many, but we're going to see less and less deaths. Am I right?
Correct. If you want to give yourself a grade about how great you're doing as far as managing this pandemic, look at the death rate. The number of hospitalization and the number of positive COVID is important, and that's part of the picture, but it's not the whole entire picture. There's a lot of issues with some of these COVID positives. Patients that are getting tested 3-4 times, and it's being counted as 4 times for the same person. We heard in Florida there are so many labs that there's no transparencies, and some are reporting almost 100% positive tests. We have people that are just testing, a lot. We used to do like hundreds and thousands, and now we're going to 400,000 tests a day. So the more you do, the more you're going to find. Our healthcare systems, our hospitals have opened up, and they're ready for elective surgery since a month ago. So every patient that goes for surgery, they have to get a test before they go to the hospital. That's also going to find a lot of asymptomatic patients that may test positive. So for many, many reasons, we had riots, we had protesters, people that were not social distancing. And so a lot of those guys are coming in. But the bottom line is Florida's problem has nothing to do with New York. New York was like 2-3 months ago when it was really hot. A lot of mismanagement, a lot of nursing home issues. We put a lot of sick patients back into the nursing home, and that became a wildfire. Your governor is a smart guy. He's not doing any of this. He uses a lot of facts and common sense, and he's very logical. And the concept of locking down the state because the numbers are going up doesn't make much of medical sense, because lockdown is not meant to cure this virus. Remember, the lockdown was to give you the flat curve so the hospital can catch up with you. You look at the hospitals and they keep saying the numbers of hospitalization and ICU beds are like overwhelming. Well, the hospitals have to have their business. You don't want any hospitals to be empty. This is what they do. Which hospital wants to be empty? So, but if you look at the proportion of the COVID patients to non-COVID, only about 20% of them, 25% of them are COVID. The rest are non-COVID patients. So you need more details than these big hypes on the mainstream media that's meant to scare people and create panic.
Dr. David Samadi joining us here, Jason Walker Show. You can follow him on Twitter, also SamadiMD.com. When you look at masks, and we're seeing more and more states and governors mandating mask requirements, including just here in Montana today, Governor Steve Bullock said it with counties of 4 and more active cases. What's your take on masks? Because I've read so much from the CDC that says masks don't work, but then they came out today and said you should wear a mask. I think there's a lot of confusion with all the masks. Please enlighten us.
I think if you look at my Twitter feed, I put a really nice diagram where in March, around March, February 22nd or early March, the numbers started to escalate. At that time, we needed Dr. Fauci to come and say, here's a mandate for everyone to wear a mask, because we think, based on the science, perhaps there's 30% reduction in the number of cases. What they did was they said, no, it's okay, you can do whatever you want, and they never made it mandate. Why? Because at that time he said that, they didn't have enough masks for doctors. He didn't want to create panic. Well, that's a wrong answer to the public, because Americans could be very creative. They can wear their scarf. They can pay their, vendetta. They can do a lot of things to cover themselves. Interestingly enough, now that the numbers are coming way, way down, and you look at the bottom of the curve, this is when they start to mandate the mask, which doesn't make much of a sense. Now, the debate about the mask is very difficult, because it's a non-winning debate. Because what do we get from the public health? Social distancing, hand hygiene, and masks. And by taking this mask away, you're basically telling them 30% of everything you're telling us is a waste of time. I think it's an easy thing to do. I think it's an easy we want to cooperate. We want to follow whatever they tell us. But the truth is, wearing a mask is very difficult. I had it on for like 7 hours the other day, and the elastic part behind my ear was causing like so much pain. People don't wear them correctly. There's an art of wearing it. I see people wearing it around their neck, around their chin. Culturally, we're not in China. We're not used to this wearing masks for hours and hours and hours. If you're around people, if you're in an area where there's a lot of people, you need to respect them. I think wearing a mask is perfectly okay. But I highly doubt that people are going to wear like 16 hours of mask. I mean, you can't breathe. It's humid. It's hot. It gets a lot of bacteria of itself. But out of respect, when you're around other people, I think it's advisable to wear them. That's where I stand with consulting. If you're in the beach and you're the only one in the next like 200 feet and there's nobody around you, wearing a mask is not going to help anyone. So common sense also goes very far with this.
Dr. David Samadi joining us here, Jason Walker Show. Masks, like I said, it's a big deal right now. And I've read that the cloth mask that a lot of people are wearing actually doesn't work. But then the CDC came out again, like I said today, and said cloth masks do work. If you're wearing a mask, which mask should we go with?
Well, it's very hard to follow CDC because they change their position so fast and so quick that the public is completely confused. I think you don't need to wear these N95s and KN95s. Those are very difficult to wear, but I think the regular mask, that's $1 or so, and it's easier to wear. You have them when you're in public, you wear them. I think, mandating something like that would be very difficult to reinforce. You don't have a masked police out there walking around with a ticket, $15 ticket when you don't have your mask on. I think this is just a personal responsibility of the public. The good news is that the number of deaths are coming down. Mm-hmm. Overall, the pandemic is slowing down. I think the virus is slowing down in Europe, in many other countries, and I hope we will see a similar thing over here in this country. As we reopen our country, we may see like these kind of spikes in different states. They may go from Florida to Georgia to somewhere else, but we're going to see this move across the country until it starts to die down on its own, and we will move on. The concept of vaccine is something that has come up many times. People are asking a lot of questions about it. We'll see, where and what type of vaccine we're going to get, how safe, efficacy among elderly, and so on and so forth. So we still have to wait and watch that very carefully.
Doctor, when you look at the people that have recovered from having COVID, we won't know long-term effects for quite some time, but they say lungs, they say possibly heart problems and maybe kidneys and brain problems. What's your advice to people? Because, again, this is a virus that has never shut down the world in 100 years, like Spanish flu that we saw, 100 years ago. We've seen nothing like this in our lifetime.
Correct. I think there has been some papers written about possibility of long-term scar in the lungs, but not to the point of having real pulmonary issues. That's something that we need to follow these patients closely. And I think as long as you treat patients early on and recognize them and make sure you treat the inflammation, and that's where things such as zinc and Z-Pak and hydroxychloroquine and all these medications come in. When you find it and you treat it with steroids, nebulizers, anything that opens up your lungs and you reduce inflammation, the chance of any long-term consequences and problem with this virus becomes lessen and lessen. And that's like any other disease, you want to be able to detect it early, you want to treat it early and intervene as fast as you can. So when you call your doctor and you have symptoms and they tell you, call me back in 3 days and take some Tylenol, that's a wrong answer.
Dr. David Samadi, a couple final questions for you in the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. Will we have sports this fall?
I'm sorry?
Do you think we'll play sports this fall?
I don't see like are you asking about the second wave this fall?
Yeah, I mean, are we gonna be able to have sports once college campus is
open?
open?
I'm sorry, your voice was going in and out. I apologize. I believe we're going to have sports. I believe. Look, I think this new norm that people are talking about, whether it's masks for the rest of our life, which I hope it will never happen, or opening up our sports, I think if we do it safely and responsibly and we check the temperatures, you have to understand as time goes on, I think this is going to slow down. I really, truly believe that we will not see a second wave. I mentioned that a month ago. We have our equipment, we have our medications, we're much smarter, we can fight this virus. And this is nothing new. If this virus goes, China will send something else a couple of years from now. The big lesson for us is really to become independent in our healthcare system. No more antibiotics from foreign countries, no more drugs. These are national security issues, which is a much bigger problem than whether we should wear a mask or not. Those are small issues. Americans are very resilient. They will get through this. Mask or no mask, we will be fine. But the bigger issue is, why is this happening all the time? Every few years, we're going to get something like this. It's affecting our economy. It's affecting our lives. How can America have their antibiotics and their medications be imported from China? Think about that. Mm-hmm. That's a much bigger question that we need to deal with as a result of something like this. The second thing is, maybe God is sending us a message. Maybe it's time to get our obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure. And I'm actually writing a book, which is going to be published in about a month or so, to get those diseases under control and become a healthier nation. And if we do all of this, I think we're going to come back bigger, better, and stronger, and America will be just fine. You know, a lot of good things will come as a result of this.
There's a lot of conversation about whether we should open up schools this fall. And you know, I don't know anything about this virus. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a Facebook doctor or a Twitter doctor at all. But there's a lot of, why does this virus seemingly not affect younger kids as frequently as like the flu or other more older people in their 20s and above?
Basically, this virus, what it does, it causes the systemic inflammation, and it takes over your immune system, takes over your organs, starts with lungs, go to your heart and your kidneys. We know that there's a lot of clotting that goes on, especially in elderly, and it kills you that way. Children's immune system are very strong, very powerful, and they can fight it out. So the risk of children getting this virus, dying from this, or transmitting it to the adults are very, very low. And that's one of the reasons why the risk of opening schools is extremely low, and it's time. And that's one of the expectations from people like Dr. Fauci and others is to just come and publicly say it. You know, by opening the schools, you're getting the children back. Right now, they're not learning anything. There's no logging in. There's no learning. There's no kids are meant to be around each other. Physically, mentally, psychologically, culturally, they need to learn from each other. And when the risks are low, by opening up the school, you're going to let parents go back to work and open up our economy. And everything is connected to each other. So why they're not coming out, looking at the data from many, many European countries that we have already. We have the science. We have the data. We have the facts. Just come and tell the truth, and that will save this country. But I think we're going to see our schools open up. We cannot just keep the families stalled like this. And I hope this has nothing to do with election or politics. I mean, you know, we need to put medicine ahead of politics at this point. That's what America needs.
That was my next question, was going to be, why has COVID become so political? Because we saw Ebola, we saw swine flu, we saw Zika, we saw West Nile, we saw all these other diseases over the last 20 years. Why is COVID so political?
If the mainstream media is putting the health of the public second, just for the sake of election, this would be a very sad time in our country. And it's time for us to all work as one America. It doesn't matter what color you are and whether you're on the right or left. This is a fight against the virus, or wherever this virus came from, or whichever nation released this on us. We need to all come together, stick together, and fight together. The election will take care of itself. The people will vote. They will decide who would be the best for this country. This country is not ready for any kind of socialism. I've traveled all over the world. They're not going to accept those kind of concepts. They need prosperity. They need freedom. They need statues to be where they are, and enough of this looting and burning and bringing statues down. This is not what America is. We need to stop our differences, and we need to come together for the sake of the country. And we will. I promise you, America will become stronger very soon. and we will win. But there are a lot of lessons that came as a result of this that we need to make sure that we don't forget.
Well, and you being born in Iran and moving over, I think in 1979, I mean, you know what bad countries can be and how America is great.
Well, we are blessed. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize it, and they take this for granted. This is one of the best countries in the world. And I've said it on many interviews that I love this country. It has been very good to me and my family. This is a country of freedom, and we need to protect it. When the statues started to come down, I said, we don't need another 1979 revolution in this country. We need to be civilized. If you have any issues, we can try to solve this. But I hope that this will be all resolved after the election.
Final question for you, but should people continue to listen to Dr. Fauci because he seems to have been thrown into the wildfire, I guess, so to speak?
Well, Dr. Fauci, again, on a personal level, from one doctor to another doctor, you don't want to criticize someone because it's not professional. I want to assume that he's given his best and he is doing everything he can. But the issue is that there's a lot of people want someone more positive. They want to give them the right data. They want to lift them up. This country is ready to be lifted up. They don't want to see a glass half empty all the time. They don't want to see all this pessimism. And as soon as they're ready to take off, again, I'm worried about this and I'm worried about that. When you start thinking about this, it's just depressing. Don't forget, 40 million people lost their jobs. A lot of suicides out there as a result of this. People have lost their savings. They're coming and their stores have been looted. And the issues are much more complex than just an infectious disease who may be brilliant in his field, but we have to look at the entire picture. Depression, anxiety, family abuse, and on and on and on, and look at the risk and benefit. In medicine, you always look at the risk and benefit. If the risk is higher than the benefit, that's not a good deal. So whatever decision they make, they need to be very careful and well thought of before they come and say, mandate this or mandate that. Here we go again. Lockdown one more time. How can you bring the fifth most powerful economy in the world in California back to lockdown where you just started to open things up? What's the purpose of that? What are you going to do? You're not going to cure the virus. So what's the purpose of this? Your hospitals are not overwhelmed. Your ICUs are not overtaken. So I think it's unfortunate a lot of these governors are just flexing their muscles and a lot of lives are being played on. It's very unfortunate.
Well, I appreciate the candor and the openness and the learning that you just gave us in our audience, Dr. David Samadi. You can follow him, Dr. David Samadi, on Twitter. You can also go to samadimd.com. Appreciate the time, sir.
It's my pleasure.
And we'll hopefully get a vaccine soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dr. David Samadi. Well, there you go. Dr. David Samadi joining us on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline, and a lot of info there. If you want to re-listen to it, if you missed anything, jasonwalkershow.com. It'll be up after the show, and you can listen to what the doctor had to say. Some great stuff there. Wearing a mask versus not wearing a mask. Why is we can't lock down again. We can't shut down again. This is a political thing as well as it's not even really a pandemic anymore. It's an epidemic, but still it's a lot. I saw this today. This is actually from a TV station. I don't know where it's from, what TV station it is. But this is according to a Harvard epidemiologist. Air conditioning units may be contributing to the spread of COVID-19, especially in the southern part of the U.S. Coming from a Harvard epidemiologist. So you're saying that the virus can get passed through a filter, through an evaporator, a blower, through ductwork and all that, but a mask is going to save us? Clean your filters if you've got central air. Just clean your filters anyway. All right. Segment brought to you by Rucker's Furniture. We'll be right back. An NRA update and Burger King. Gas. It's next.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Ruckers Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Ruckers, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Ruckers Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. Do you love to look at photos of Montana, from animals to landscapes and more? Are you looking for a place to get your senior pictures or family portraits done? Are you a business owner looking to upgrade the decor in your offices? Well, look no further than Mark LaRoe Photography. Mark has been shooting beautiful photos all across the Treasure State, from rodeos to portraits, and would love to work with you. Visit marklaroephotography.com to see many masterpieces of his work, then give him a call to schedule your own photo shoot. Or to purchase one of his fantastic pieces, stop by Spirit of the Big Sky Gallery on Custer in Helena. marklaroephotography.com.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Final segment on a Wednesday in the Major Mortgage Man Cave. This segment brought to you by Mark LaRoe, photography.com. Make sure you check out the website. Mark's a good thing to learn, correct? Because not everybody is a doctor. And this platform, we give you opportunities to hear from doctors and hear from everybody, including yourself. If you ever want to weigh in, you can. Nobody does. You're scared. Yeah, I'm going to say it. No, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe a little. Let's see. All right, so let's get our Northern Rodeo update. They will run at Scobie this weekend. Bareback is being led by J2 Bridges out of Dillon. That kid is so good. Bryce Patterson, Bozeman is in the 2 slot. Will Nordstrom of East Helena in 3. Is steer wrestling, Tyler Hooley from Browning leads the way. Jet Murphy of Helena is in second. And Ty Iverson of East Helena in third. A couple of these guys are heading off to the National High School Rodeo Finals coming up at Lazy E Arena in Guthrie, Oklahoma this month. By the way, Ty Erickson, the reigning world champion steer wrestling, is 5th in the NRA standings. And I bring that up just because it's got to be pretty cool for guys like Tyler and Jet, Ty Iverson, Kobe King, by the way, from Dillon, the top 4, to sit there and go, hey, we're leading a world champ right now. That's pretty cool. Breakaway, Alicia Bird, Cutbank, Sealy Salmon, Shota, Michaela Witter, Helena 1, 2, 3. Michaela she's so fun. I've had her on the show before, and she's so much fun to chat with. She's going to Western now, competing down there. Tie down, Jade Gardner of Winnett, Ben Ayer, and Bradley Hayes, Glendive, Kalispell, respectively, sit 2 and 3. Saddlebronc, Geraldine's Caleb Meeks, 2 dots, Andrew Evgene. It's his birthday today, by the way. Happy birthday to Andrew Evgene. And Judd Applegate of Deer Lodge sits in the 3 slot. Team roping header, Garrett Duncan, DeLon Parker, and rope 3 irons. That is a fantastic name from Lodge Grass. We got to get rope on the air. Rope 3 irons. What a great name. And speaking of 3 irons, Callaway makes really good ones. Kyle Callaway is in 6th. See that we just tie everything together. But if anybody knows Rope 3 irons, please let me give him my number. Give me his number because I want to talk to this kid. Rope 3 irons. On the healing side, Colton Fisher, Ryan Zurcher, Clay Gunshows. That's another. We got to have Rope and Clay together on the show. Rope 3 irons and Clay Gunshows. Oh, I love it. Barrel Racing, Tammy Jo Carpenter, Kalispell number 1. Lindsay Cruz sitting in 2. Abby Knight, former Providence Argo, sits in 3rd. Bull Riding, Riley Barg, 2-time defending champ on the NRA circuit. Peyton Fitzpatrick in 2. Jade Murphy in 3. All around, Ben Air leading the way over Sam Levine by about $1,000. NRA running, like I said, at Scobie this weekend. And anywhere, I don't know if they're anywhere else this weekend. We've got the Daniels County Fair Thursday. That's it. Tomorrow night in Scobie, and then off until next week, Eureka, and then end of the month in Superior. So we'll follow the Northern Rodeo Association. All right. Not sure if you guys saw this yesterday. Burger King came out, said that they are they're experimenting. Their initial research has said that lemongrass helps cows and the environment. So they don't. Burger King sounds like they're teaming up with AOC. Quote from Twitter. You know what? I'll just put it up. Can I show this? Let's get the sizing down a little bit better here. Okay. Burger King says that cow farts and burps are no laughing matter. They release methane contributing to climate change. That's why we're working to change our cows' diet by adding lemongrass to reduce their emissions by approximately 33%. You can go to bk.com/sustainability to learn more. Remember that kid, Mason Ramsey? They got him to do a song.
When cows fart and burp and splatter, well, it ain't no laughing matter. They're releasing methane every time they do.
Wow.
And that methane from the rear goes up to the atmosphere and pollutes our planet, warming me and you. Yes, that methane that passes a greenhouse gas that'll trap the sun's heat and change our climate too. Gee, is it hot in here or is it just me? So to change their emissions, Burger King went on a mission, testing diets that would help reduce their
All right. Anytime we get to talk about farting cows on the Jason Walker Show, we're going to do it. So apparently lemongrass is good for cows' diets. Oh my gosh. I saw a great tweet today from good buddy Brendan Howard, former Great Falls High star, now at MSUB. He said, how did he phrase it? Basically, he said, wow, and still not a Mason Ramsey fan. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Hey, that's what we talk about. Jason Walker Show. This is why we need sports back. This is why we need sports. Mask, no mask, I don't care at this point. This is why we need masks. We've hit the bottom. We're talking about cow farts and cow burps on the Jason Walker Show. That is why we need sports. Man. Speaking of, going to be playing in the golf tournament this weekend, the Disabled American Vet Tournament over at Bill Roberts Golf Course. It's a 2-day tournament. Fantastic. All the proceeds benefit the DAV, and it is a fantastically run tournament. Chase and Dan do a great job, and appreciate everybody that's out there playing and sponsoring and helping out the DAV. It's awesome. So we'll see you out there on Saturday and Sunday. And I think, according to the email, I think we might have to wear masks while we play golf this weekend. Or maybe it's just while we're standing around Because there's less than 250 people, but there's more than 50. I don't know. Because I don't know. All right. Let's get to On This Day in History. Burger King and farts. That's literally on my rundown. It says segment 3, brought to you by Mark LaRoe Photography. We're going to talk Northern Rodeo and Burger King and farts. It is July the 15th, National I Love Horses Day. And Give Something Away Day. I feel like we should give away a Gil Brandt autographed Hall of Fame card and also a Cafe Zydeco gift card. We will at the end of the show. We'll give away a Gil Brandt card autographed and a Cafe Zydeco gift card. It is also Pet Fire Safety Day. Teach your pets not to play with matches or lighters. It is Tapioca Pudding Day. Not a big tapioca pudding guy. I think it's the texture. On this date in 1876, baseball's first official no-hitter, George Bradley of the St. Louis Brown Stockings, no-hit the Hartford Dark Blues. 1901, Christy Mathewson, no-hit St. Louis. 1909, future Baseball Hall of Famer Ty Cobb hit 2 inside-the-park home runs and in a big win. 1912, one of the greatest athletes ever, Jim Thorpe, he placed in the top 4 in all 10 events for an Olympic record 8,413 points to win the decathlon gold medal in Stockholm. The medal was stripped the next year because Thorpe had played professional baseball, but the gold medal was then reinstated back in 1982. I'm hard-pressed not to put Jim Thorpe as my number 2 all-time great athlete. Secretariat's my all-time greatest athlete. But Jim Thorpe in number 2 spot, hard to argue. 1923 at the U.S. Open, Bobby Jones won his first major championship. He was an amateur legend, of course. 1927, Jones, so this was 4 years later in Britain at St. Andrews, goes back-to-back winning Open championships. 1961, at Royal Birkdale, Arnold Palmer wins the first of 2 straight Open championships. 1972, at Muirfield, Lee Trevino goes back-to-back with the Claret Jug. First to successfully defend his title since Arnold Palmer in 62. 1973, Nolan Ryan, his second career no-hitter. 1978 at St. Andrews, Jack Nicklaus completes his 3rd career Grand Slam. 1980, Johnny Bench hit his 314th home run as a catcher to break Yogi Berra's record. That record is now held by Mike Piazza. 1996, after 2,216 consecutive games at shortstop, Cal Ripken moves to third base. And one birthday I wanted to bring up today. Jan Michael Vincent was born on this date in 1944. He passed away last year, but Airwolf, great show. But he was born in Denver, Colorado on this date in 1944. All right, let's do this.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
All right, I've got an autographed Gil Brandt, the walk-off, by the way, brought to you by Cafe Zydeco. Make sure you stop by 625 Euclid in Helena, also in Bozeman and Billings. I had, for the first time in my life, beignets a couple of weeks ago. Holy cow, those are so good. Why have I not been introduced to beignets before? Seriously. Unbelievable. I got a Cafe Zydeco gift card and also a Gil Brandt autographed Hall of Fame card. Let's see, what should we do? How many home runs has Mike Piazza hit? Or did he hit in his career? He owns the catching record for Hall of Fame. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. For home runs by a catcher. Used to be Yogi, then it was Johnny, now it's Piazza. How many home runs does Piazza have? You can email me, jasonwalkersports@gmail.com, and give me the answer. And we'll send you an autographed Gil Brandt Hall of Fame card and also a Cafe Zydeco gift card. So there you go. Thanks to David Samadi, Dr. David Samadi joining us. Hello, Cassie Cosina, the former Cassie Hashley. Tune in from, I think, Nebraska. Hello. Thanks for watching. Dr. David Samadi, though, appreciate his time joining us and enlightening us about COVID. Tomorrow on the show, we're going to talk to MSU women's basketball coach Tricia Binford about her new deal. We'll talk about the Cats and a whole lot more. Go to JasonWalkerShow.com. If you missed anything, we'll see you back here tomorrow at 4. And have yourself a wonderful Wednesday. And we'll see you on a terrific Thursday tomorrow.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.